I know more of you as an industry professional, but little about you on your personal life. So probably I'll start with going back and asking you, tell me a little bit about yourself and your childhood, your beginning, your family.
You know, Raj, this is perhaps the first interview I'm giving where I'm talking about myself. I said yes to you, and then I've spent many weeks trying to wonder how I can get out of it. And then telling myself, no, why not? You know, he's not going to eat you up. He's just going to ask you about yourself. And you haven't done anything which might get you into trouble, I hope. So here I am, born in Delhi, schooling, Springdale's in Delhi, college, St. Stephen's College, Delhi, all four jobs, Delhi, family, most of the friends in Delhi. I travel a lot. I mean, I have been traveling before the lockdown almost every week, but always come back to Delhi. So I guess I'm a Delhi girl at heart.
So tell me a little bit about your childhood. I mean, your parents and stuff like that.
So I come from a quintessential middle class family. We lived with my father's father and mother, my grandparents in Delhi. A very literate family. My father and my grandfather were both professors in history. My grandfather was the professor in Punjab University. Dad was in Karorimal College. Very keen that I should also go into the same line, but I wasn't going to. My mom, my grandmother, at that time, which is many years back now, was an MA. My mother was a graduate. They were both housewives, but very liberal atmosphere, in the sense, very forward-looking. My maternal side, my grandfather was the private secretary first to Nehru and then to Indira Gandhi. My grandmother was a housewife. Like I said, lovely childhood, grew up. I was always a good student. I knew what I wanted. I never wanted to do science. I was horrible at maths, terrible actually. So I was just waiting for my 11th class to start so that I could take humanities and get on with it and get into St. Stephen's College. My dad was from Stephens. So I was really, really keen to get into the college. And he said, look, don't expect any help from me. You need to do it on your own. I got the percentage to go to college. And I think that was my first dream come true, literally. You want me to go on? So
yeah, please,
I finished college and then I came from that time when girls did their college. It wasn't a very protective upbringing, but it wasn't, nobody put it in my head that I needed to have a career. Except my mom, who always said that, you need to get married, but, you should work first. She said, I always regretted not working, even if for a short while. So that got me off to my first job, which was the Center for Development of Telematics. It was run by the iconic Sam Pitroda, who is often referred to as the father of telecom. I met him all of 21, and he was very different. He had lived in the US, and the US culture was very informal for us. Working in office meant yes sir, no sir. So I said sir to him, and he said, what are you sirring me for? Call me Sam. So that set the tone for my 2 years there, because it was like being out of one campus into another. A lot of young IIT engineers and, great company, great friends I made there. Worked there for a little over 2 years. Frankly, I was drifting. I mean, I was just waiting for Mr. Right to come, get married, and have someone take care of me. So then I joined the UDI Yellow Pages. They were the people who brought in the first Yellow Pages into India.
Yeah, I know.
But I think my outlook towards life changed when I joined CII. Again, that was also on the spur of the moment. I went for an interview. I still remember. I mean, I feel so embarrassed when I think about the answers I gave them. And, they asked me, what kind of salary are you looking for? And, when I think about it, I said, enough to cover the petrol in my car. I was quite sure that I wasn't going to get the job, but I did. And I think it changed my life because CI was not just a job, it was a culture. It was very exciting. We were told that we need to deal with household names like Bajaj and Kirloskar and Godrej. One felt one had come to a different world, but soon found out that it wasn't such an easy world because there was zero chance of any mistakes. So exciting world, a glamorous world, but I think very high stress job. I would say.
So how many years did you spend at CII?
I was there for 17 and a half years. I thought I'll never leave. They would have to take me out kicking and screaming. But I think whatever happens, happens for the good.
So 17 years in CII, and I think you've done almost 13 years or 14 years in All India.
Almost 13.
IMA.
I still remember when I was planning to leave CII for IMA, Mr. Rahul Bajaj had called me and we had a long conversation. And he was giving me all the reasons as to why I should not leave and how what I was doing at that time, which was handling mega events like India at 60 in New York and the Davos event and our annual, huge trade fairs. So I kept giving him reasons as to why I should. And I did ultimately. And I still remember a year afterwards, he met me at Taj Palace in the lawns there. And he said, Rekha, I was wrong. And you were right. You did the right thing leaving and you're doing a great job. I think it takes a very big man to say something like that after he had been trying to persuade me not to leave and telling me that would not be the right thing for me to do. So I learned that, it's never a problem to say that you were wrong.
Yeah.
It always, I think, gives you more respect and stature.
So let me ask you, when a person of that stature, that magnitude, sits and chats with you and tells you why you shouldn't leave, right? It's not easy. It's not easy in many which ways, right? You're emotionally connected, you respect the human being. And so how did you tackle that situation? Because it's not easy. You're saying no to somebody, right?
I see, it wasn't personal. I was leaving because another CEO thought that I could do better at IMA, which was Sanjeev Goenka. He's the one who brought me into IMA. He was taking over as vice president of IMA, and he thought that I would be perfect for the director general's job. I had frankly, Raj, never aspired for the top job. I was very happy in CII doing what I was doing, and I was good at what I was doing, which was, organizing some of these mega events and dealing internationally. I was very happy. But I think he also made me understand, Sanjeev Goenka, that I needed to move on. I needed to grow. And it made sense to me. So I said, if I can do it for a big mega event in CII, I'm sure I'll be able to do it in IMA. Not to say that I was as confident as I was sounding now. I was really scared. And I was like, of course, again thinking, am I doing the right thing? Should I stay back? But I guess, when something is meant to happen, it happens. And I moved on. So I joined IMA. I had a staff who was more used to my predecessor, two predecessors, in fact, were major generals. So they were very used to a very different style of working. And I've always had a very informal style. For me, I don't stand on occasion. I started my career with CDOT, which was very Americanized. So first name basis, and generally I would go and talk to anybody. Here, I found that even email was something which was not used. So there's a very interesting story attached to it. So this was one of the big problems because you can't run an organization which doesn't use emails, even though it was 13 years back and email was just coming in. So I got these big files with typical government notings that, and pens along with that, green, red, black, that you need to give an approval with green and reject with red. I said, guys, it's not going to happen. You want an approval, you send me an email. Otherwise, it won't happen. They thought I was joking and I was kidding. And then I had this huge pile of papers piling up on my desk. I said, it's okay. You want approval, you send an email. And I think within a few months, there was a complete turnaround.
Tell me about, such a huge journey, great experience. But if you had to go back and look at your lows and highs, what are the two things that come to your mind?
You're talking about my career or my life?
You can interpret the question the way you want.
Okay, if you're talking about my life, I think the biggest low I had was losing my dad. And at that too, at a very young age, I was in my 20s. So I guess, all those 4 years of drifting from one job to another, I grew up. The day I lost him, he was only 56. And suddenly I felt that I was an orphan. And suddenly I grew up. And I suddenly realized the meaning of family. I realized the meaning of parents. And I think that is something which really changed me as a person. So that was one of my lows. I don't think I've had a major low as far as work is concerned. I mean, there is no, there's nobody who hasn't been through ups and downs of careers. But to call it call something which has really taken me down so badly. I mean, if I compare it to losing my dad, I don't think there's been anything like that in my career. But there have been plenty of times that I've gone and cried in the, ladies' toilet as I was growing up in CI. That used to be the favorite place for all young women to go and cry if their boss said something to them. So that has happened in plenty. I've had my low periods in IMA also when things didn't go my way. But I don't think I have been through a touchwood, a low. As far as highs are concerned, I've had, I think every year is a high when your work is appreciated. IMA has been very good to me. I worked hard, but I think I've got a lot of appreciation. I think one of the highs was when I got my first board position. And that too with Sun Pharma Industries, which was and is one of the leading pharma companies. I think at that time it was the 5th largest generic pharma company in the world. Perhaps it's the 4th now, I'm not sure. I'm still on the board. And that was an interesting incident. I remember getting a call from Dilip Shanghvi's office, and I had met him briefly at one of the events organized by the Baroda Management Association. I remember I was introducing Mr. Narayana Murthy, and then I was introduced to Mr. Shanghvi. Somehow in my entire journey of CII and IMA, I had never met him. And I really liked him. I mean, we spoke for barely 2-3 minutes, but very down to earth and a very simple person. I got a call from his office and he wanted to meet with me. Somehow that didn't work out. Then I got another call saying that he's coming to Delhi and he'd like to meet you in your office. And I was quite excited. I have a one-track mind where IMA is concerned. I said, great guy to have as an IMA president going forward. So I somehow need to get him to come into IMA.
So you were working with the agenda that you want to get him as IMA president?
Always. I mean, for me, the agenda was always IMA. So he came and I gave him a full spiel on IMA. I mean, I just was at my very best and carried on for at least half an hour. Now, when I think back about it, my God, the poor guy had a lot of patience. So he heard me through. He did not interrupt me. And then he said, I said, I hope you'll, join IMA and maybe one day take on a leadership position. So he said, Rekha, right now, we are going through a lot of expansion and maybe a few years down the line. And my heart sank. I said, oh, okay. So then he said, the reason I'm here is that I'd like you to join our board. It took me some time to really, digest what he was asking me. And generally, I'm a very impulsive person. I would have just said, no, I can't join any boards. I don't understand anything about, the intricacies of running a company. But good sense made me keep quiet. And I said, I'm flattered, but I would need to take permission from my board. And my board is, of course, I'm lucky that it comprises of some of the top CEOs in the country. So I said, I'll get back to you. And I spoke to my board. And I was like floored by the reaction. They said, Sun Pharma, excellent company. DG IMA should definitely be on the board. And I remember the board meeting that we had and the entire council clapped for me. And I said, oh, I'm probably doing something right. And then I joined the board of Sun Pharma Industries. After that, I joined the CESC board, which is RPSG Group, which is the Sanjeev Goenka Group in Calcutta. I joined the Spencer's Retail Board, Spencer's Supermarkets.
Yes.
And I'm also on the Hero Steels board. So that was, I think, that meeting was perhaps one of the highs of my life because it changed the direction of what I was doing dramatically.
Yeah. No, that's great. And so how have you been spending your time? I mean, how is work-life balance working from home? I mean, do you manage your weekends? Do you work on weekends or it's all blurred now? The lines are
Actually, it's all blurred. I think it's the same for everybody. But I did learn to cook. It took me that many years to learn to cook. I bought an instant hot pot, which is now one of my favorite means of cooking because you can put stuff in it and it just cooks on its own and it's delicious. So that's my biggest achievement while sitting at home. But work has been hectic. I mean, it's not been easy, shifting the way an entire organization works from physical to digital. But we are reaching there. We thought things will be better. We were even looking at opening up in perhaps April when the second wave hit us.
Yeah.
So the first quarter has been a bit of a write-off, but I'm optimistic. I'm positive.
What does happiness mean to you on a personal level?
I think I have realized after the pandemic much more than I did earlier. Perhaps it was always there, but I realized happiness to me means being with loved ones and seeing that they are safe and healthy. And I think the pandemic has taught all of us the value of family much more than perhaps anything else could have.
Yeah.
And I'm very clear that for me now, family comes first. And that's happiness.
Rekha, that was wonderful, wonderful talking to you. And thank you so much for spending this evening with me. And I wish you a healthier and a happier year ahead.
Thank you so much. And the same goes for you. I think these days, the best wish we can give somebody is the wish of health. So wish you a healthy and happy year going forward.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we shall stay connected. Thank you, Rekha. Wonderful speaking to you once again.